Hello everyone. Today we, the control group, will be making our presentation about our report. Our team consists of 6 people that include me, Lê Việt Tùng, Trần Ngọc Ánh Vân, Trần Thế Vĩ, Quách Tần Giang, Phạm Quang Trường, and Lê Minh Thận. We will be evaluating your economic project based on 2 factors, the report itself and the video presentation. The procedure for evaluating your economic project will be: first, we will dive into some of the pros and cons of the report. We will also try to give you some advice whenever it is possible. Then finally, we will evaluate it using the rubric evaluation table that will include organization, content, knowledge, and style. And finally, we will score your report on how well you did it on the scale of 1 to 10. This is the topic title of the report of every group. First, we will start off with the evaluation of Group 2 and 3.
To discuss about the petrol price in Vietnam during the eventful period in 2022. In the period of context of price fluctuation, we discuss the effect on the economy, policy, and market price. They also analyze the market potential after the crisis and discuss ways to move forward. First, we will discuss about the report appearance. So all the necessary parts are present. The sections are divided reasonably, allow a quick picture of the report. They also make good usage of shorthands with easy to understand math equations and reasonably scaled pictures. And finally, their citation page follow the required APA format, and they have good overall spacing, allowing great clarity for the viewers. However, the group doesn't provide caption or source for the pictures, and the later parts of the report doesn't have supporting illustrations. About the report content, they provide an extensive overview of the current social context with great supporting figures and detailed explanation about the theory. With usage of equations and illustration, they also provide easy review of the class knowledge. In the second section, they provide many examples of worldwide context of gasoline price, make the content both technically heavy and easily understandable. In the later section 3 and 4, they focus on the crisis and its aftermath. They have a good usage of statistics, and they also link back to a theory in class and degrees and policy in real life. And they summarize the information very well. And the good citations show the research effort of all members in Group 2 overall. However, in some parts, the statistics should be represented as charts instead of raw text. For example, in section 3.1.4, where they simply list all the changes and numbers, and more specific recommendations for the crisis could be made. And finally, about the presentation evaluation, they have a beautiful visual. They make good use of figures, and their transition animation is clean. And the group members' commands of English is also very good. And the content closely follows the report, which is full of information and properly cited. And finally, the presenting parts are divided equally, giving all members a chance to present their knowledge. However, some parts are slightly affected by the microphone quality. Overall, this is a well-done presentation that demonstrates Group number 2's extensive work and effort. So we gave them 4-3-4-3 for the organization, content, knowledge, and style accordingly. And finally, the overall grade for Group number 2 would be a 9 for report and 9 for presentation on the scale of 10. Next is Group number 3. They discuss about the beer market in Vietnam both before and after the pandemic, and provide suggestions to overcome the economic crisis caused by the global disease. First, we will talk about the report appearance. So again, necessary parts are present. Sections are divided reasonably. They have a good usage of shorthands, reasonably scaled pictures, and an improvement compared to Group number 2 is that the pictures are also properly sourced and captions. And finally, the later parts also have many supporting figures, and with they have a good overall spacing. However, their citation page is somewhat lacking, And the first part only has one supporting figures. About the report content, uh, many parts discussing the beer market in Vietnam are very good, and they use an abundance amount of figures to support their ideas. They also provide much information in section 3, expand the idea in the second section and link back to the theory section. And they also proposes several solutions for both enterprises and policymakers. And finally, the conclusion does a good job of summarizing the report, allowing the reviewers to recap the content. However, their content organization could be better. For example, the section 1.5 could be expanded a bit more, and the section 2.1 is short, consisting of only a paragraph and a picture. And finally, in the section 2.2, the claim Vietnamese brands are gradually disappearing should be investigated more. In the section 3, a chart should be provided for each criteria of customer classification, not just the first one. And the methodologies of the use surveys could also be mentioned. Finally, the presentation evaluation. They also have beautiful visuals with a good color choice. They make good use of figures. They have a clean transition animation, and their group members also have good commands of English. The content closely follows the report, accompanied by great visual charts. And finally, the presenting parts are divided equally, giving all members a chance to present their knowledge. However, some slides have inconsistent font choice. The speaking volume of the second and the fourth part is more, making it difficult to hear the presentation. And finally, the suggestion part should be expanded more to accommodate all the ideas that group number 3 has presented in the report. Overall, this is again a well done presentation that demonstrates group number 3's extensive work and effort. And for the rubric evaluations, we gave them 3, 4, 4, 3 accordingly. And the final overall grade for group number 3 would be an 8.5 for the report and a 9 for presentation. Next, we will move on to the report of group number 4 and group number 6.
Now we turn to Group 4. They talk about the current situation of the fluctuation of gasoline Vietnamese market in 2022. They focus on the cost, the values, and the changing progress on the gasoline market. First, I talk about the report's appearance. It has nearly most of the necessary parts of a report, provided cover page, member, index, reference. Beside that, the sections are also divided reasonably, but the report didn't follow the IPA style, which is very important. For example, the citation wasn't in the correct format and the page number wasn't in the correct position. Second is content. The topic of this group is clearly shown, stating directly the current situation of the gasoline market. They also give the figures, diagrams, many evidence of the fluctuation to elaborate this topic. Besides that, they analyze the supply and demand for two well-used type of gasoline is RON 95 and E5 92. But I see that the rest of the gasoline, like diesel, was ignored. They don't have any evidence that the impact of government policy intervention, the different macroeconomic indicator that related to the state, or the impact of macroeconomic policies on the market. In general, the content of those reports is not profound and didn't highlight many economic knowledge. Third, I talk about the presentation evaluation. I evaluated is quite good. The graph used figures for description without resorting to a warp text. They also have good animations and sound effects. The content closely follow the report that the group has done, and I see it's a good presentation for demonstration on our work they had done. But it being held back by the report because it had relatively little content. They lacks a lot of information as I mentioned before. The suggestion for this group is be expanded a bit more to display all the ideas from the group and to furthermore. The rubric for this group, I evaluated 1, 2, 1, and 2. The report is 4.5 and 6 for the presentation. Now we turn to group 6. Group 6 talk about the current situation of Vietnamese fast food market in the last decade. They give us the overview, the competition between branches, the consumer, and the values in the market. The first I talk about the appearance. It has nearly most of the necessary parts of a report, provided a cover page, member index, and reference. Also, there's a highlighting of name of each part, which is make it easy to recognize. A good heading and a good table content and figures make people easy to follow the content. But beside that, they didn't follow the APA style. The second is content. This group also can show the topic clearly, stating directly the current situation of fast food consumer market. They can give the figure, diagrams, states of competition in many branches to make sense the detailed market. The report dives deeply into the determinants of the growth change and suitable values. Also, they give the detailed recommendation for potential growth of this market. The report has many deep analysis of consumption, market, supply and demand, but they didn't give many evidences that show off the impact of government policy intervention, driven for the market failures on the market, the different macroeconomic indicators that related to the state, or the impact of macroeconomic policies on the market. The next is presentation evaluated. I evaluated is quite beautiful. They chose a consistent color palette consisted of the two contrasting colors in dark blue and white, which makes the presentation feel more and more professional. Presenters show a good command of English to deliver the presentation. Also, they show a familiarity and the confidence with the material they have worked. But as I mentioned before, they lack a lot of information. The rubric for this group, I evaluated 3, 2, 2, and 2. The reports is 6 and 7 for the presentation. Now we turn to group 1 and 7.
The topic of Group 1 is about the current situation of the world petroleum market during the Ukraine war. It focused on the cause, and impact of the event on the petroleum market. For the report appearance, the report form is filed with the name of all member listed. They also highlighting the name of each box, which make it easy to recognize. Some of the negative side is that the group lacked the topic title and the lecturer's name. The table of content is also not standard. It also tricking down of too many unnecessary topics. For example, the topic of what is OPEX response, and OPEX production cost cut could be put together into one large topic. And they also no citation for any of the information source or images. Moving on to the report content. The topic of the group is really so stating the current situation of the global petroleum market during the report. It is able to make some connection between economic events and political events. It also really states the cause and effect of the war on the rise of gasoline. However, it failed to achieve many of the project learning outcomes, and it also often only states shallow facts. It does not go deep into analyzing the economic aspect, often gets sidetracked into the subject of geopolitics. For example, in the topic role, what the Russia want to regain an important position on the international stage had anything to do with economics. we will be moving on to the presentation. The presentation had a satisfactory visual design featuring a primary base of yellow color and other supporting color. The transition animation is polished and provide a lesson building experience for the viewer. The work is divided fairly, ensuring that all members have an opportunity to present their work and knowledge. However, it is being held back by the report as it has relatively little content. Everything in the report is also on the slide, and it has no new content. Overall, for the rubric evaluation, I give it a 2, 1, 2, 3. And for the overall rate, I give the report a 3 and the presentation a 6. Next, we will be moving on to group 7. This group worked on the economic crisis in the period 2007 and 2008. Analyze important subjects such as supply, demand, elasticity, internal and external impact, objective and subjective costs. For the report appearance, the report has a good format and the report is easy to follow. It also has the correct ABA station. However, the report were quite long and lumbering, and it could have also used more images to illustrate its point. It should highlight the heading of each section. About the good side of the content, the introduction are brief and to the point, stating the purpose of the report. The conclusion does a good job at summing up the report, however, it is quite long. The report slowly followed the objective learning outcome and it answers all of the questions. It gives detailed report about the cause and effect and the event leading to the 2008 financial crash. However, some part of the report should have used a graph to illustrate. For example, in section 2.5, compare and contrast, do not really see any comparison. So a bar chart should be used to present the data clearer. Some part of the report should be explored more, such as section 1.4. Income elasticity should have data to analyze the severity of an oversupply and ultimately a rush in the housing market. For the presentation evaluation, it had an interesting use of AI generated voice to do the presentation video. It had a stunning visual design that employed a consistent color scheme featuring two contrasting colors, namely orange and black, resulting in an incredibly professional appearance. Highlighted keywords make it really easy to follow each one in the presentation. Some of the passages that the classical music playing in the background are kinda distracting, and some slides had too much text which could be shortened. Overall, for the rubric evaluation, I give it a G4, and the overall rate of the report is 8.5 and the presentation is 8.5. Next, we will be moving on to the evaluation of group A and 5.
So for group 5, the topic of the group is the smartphone market analysis. It gives us an overview about the world smartphone market and a deep look into Vietnam's smartphone market. So for the report appearance, we have the pro is that the sections are well divided with details, helps the reviewer capture a clear vision of the report, and it has the correct API citations. But for the cons, we have the grammar in the very first few pages is not very good, which may lead to some misunderstanding and confusions. There are also some minor spelling mistakes in the report. And for the report content, we can see that we have the class knowledge is well applied and well defined in different aspects of the market. It will provide a lot of figures which help illustrate and reinforce ideas better. It's showing a deep, wide range of research over the market, and the ideas are supported by chart uh, and proofs, which is very clear and convincing. For the cons, we have the second section, which discuss about the firm behavior and market structure. Is an important part of the report that should be discussed a little bit longer. And the problem in the third section should be given more solutions. And there are a few coloring mistakes in the figures that make it hard to read the content in the figures. And to the presentation evaluations, we have the pro is that the group makes good use of figures and pictures to demonstrate their idea rather than just lying that on a wall of text. The group make the presentation under the Google Meet form, which creates the interactive feeling for viewers. And the content it closely follow the report, which is full of information and is properly cited. And the work done is divided equally. Our members have a chance to show their work and knowledge. For cons, we have some single parts that are covered by two speakers at a time, which may cause some distractions, and the sound is not consistent. The first part is too loud in compare with the rest of the presentations. So for the rubric evaluations, I will give them 3 for 3, and overall grade I give them 8 for the report and 9 for the presentation. And for group 8, the topic of the group is about COVID-19 and the position of Vietnam facial masks in Western countries market. It evaluates the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on demand and supply of face masks and the potential of Vietnam after the pandemic. So for the report appearance, we have the pro is that the sections are well divided with details, helps reviewer capture a clear vision of the report. And secondly, they has the correct APA citations. And for the cons, we have the main part title should be separated into new page instead of being put into the same page as the earlier part. And the table of contents should be labeled with number to be tracked easier. So about the report content, we have the pros is that the report has a good frame. Readers can easily check on the progress. The report provides adequate figures and charts to attract viewer attention and to express the idea. The spacing is good. It allows great clarity for reviewer. And many orientation and solution have been given. All of them are well written. And for the cons, we have the class knowledge. It should be applied more in the second and the third part. More data and charts should be given to combine with the knowledge to better support the ideas. And now to evaluate the presentation, we have the pro is that the presenters, they show good choices of words, they present fluently. The group make good use of figures rather than just lying on text, and transition animation is clean and smooth, and the work done is divided equally. All the members have a chance to show their work. And the cons are there are some problems with the sound. Some parts are smaller than the rest of the presentations, and some presenters should be more enthusiastic instead of just focusing on reading the script. So for the rubric evaluations, I will give them 4 free for free. Okay, and the overall grade is 8.5 for both report and presentation. So, in conclusions, the project is a chance for students to have a deeper look into economics, how the economics actually work in real life, giving them an opportunity to apply theory knowledge into analyzing real problems. And throughout the duration of the project, most team has demonstrated dedication and collaboration in pursuit of project goals. However, a few groups seem to be distracted, should have paid more attention to the subject. So that is our presentation. Thank you for listening.